Good afternoon. There's been a lot going on this year, and things are definitely a total 180 to where we were a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And there's a lot of conversations that are being opened up, but people are uncomfortable, and they don't care. They think it's, why are people being so dramatic? Why can't everyone just get along? I see no colour. And that is kind of the problem. As a black woman, I have to say my needs need to come first in this instance, because for generations upon generations it's never been our needs first. And that's, it's quite obvious what happened. We weren't all from Nigeria just taking a nice little stroll over to the Caribbean and wherever else they got us from. And I think it's important that even though these conversations might be uncomfortable and they might make you upset, that you're open to hearing the other perspective. Because it's easy to say, I'm not a bad person, I respect people. But if you're in a position of power, what are those biases that you might have that might affect others? And even if you're not in a position of power, do you treat people as they should be treated? Because I'm all about equality and making sure that no matter what your needs are, no matter what your background is, you're treated as an individual. How many people can say the same? How many people can really be honest with themselves and say, actually, I'm kind of contributing to the problem? Because silence is still contributing. And I think we're at a point now where, like, it's as if now we've got the social media kind of movement and everyone's on social media. People are becoming more and more aware of other people's issues that may not have had anything to do with their community, their culture, their kind of inner circles. And we see a lot of things that have progressed with the LGBT plus movement, and they wanted their equality, which they deserve, right? They shouldn't be mocked because they identify as something else, and there shouldn't be silence when something's wrong and when somebody is making someone uncomfortable. And I'm pretty sure there's many other black people and other minority groups that can completely understand where I'm coming from, that there's not this outward, this hate, this outward hate of you're this, you're that, you're black this, you're N-word that. But there's an undercurrent, there's something just under the surface that makes you feel like, am I good enough? Am I right? Am I wrong? And I don't mean to speak in riddles, but I also have got to be mindful that I'm not here to inflame the situation. I'm just here to give you my take as a black woman, because it is easy to just be like, yeah, well, that's America's problem. Now America's problem is now the UK's problem, and they're so closely linked. You've got to remember, where did these so-called discoverers come from? They came from England. So we're dealing with the same people. It's just there's less. It's a smaller place. And where is the kind of the, okay, well, this person is qualified for the job, this person is a good person, and they're, you know, they're from a minority background, they've got a disability, they're from the LGBTQ plus community. I don't want to say I don't see the differences. I don't see colour. See my colour. It's beautiful. And this skin has gone through a lot. Maybe not my skin, but my ancestors. And I think that people have to be more open to change. There's so many societies, the one that I live in personally, you know, where I don't want to mingle with people that aren't my colour. That's segregation. That also hinders our societies, you know, and it's based on white supremacy, and everyone rolls their eyes, don't they? Oh, white supremacy, here we go. But you know, for thousands of years there was human beings roaming about the earth, slaughtering each other and everything else. But the Roman Catholic Church, back in them days, took it a step further. They said, killing people, kind of a sin. And how can we get around this? Because their eyes were wide, because they see all these golds and precious stones and precious metals and everything else, the land of riches, yeah, Africa. And they were so destructive. They didn't want to, you know, go over there, buy things, bring it back, or, you know, who says they wanted to sell them? Maybe they weren't for sale. They wanted everything. They wanted to divide and conquer. And yes, it was a long time ago. No, I wasn't personally a slave. My mother, my father, my grandparents weren't personally slaves. But the mindset that they instilled in that moment, in that time period, is still affecting us. And that's not just black people, okay? But the blacker you are, the more your social status goes down, you know? And the white is right. And even though there's no outward, you're a this, you're a that, for the most part, obviously, I've had people call me racist slurs in my life, unfortunately. But it's not that outward racism, but it's, your face doesn't quite fit though, does it? You're not white part of the team, there's this level of you've got to watch your back. People might be a little bit more suspicious of what you're doing. And that undercurrent, that unhealthy level of disgust under the surface that's the problem. That's what we need to get rid of. And maybe Breonna Taylor and maybe George Floyd have caused another stir, but how many times have we heard about the slaying of black people in modern times? You know, and the lack of justice, the lack of representation. And I'm focusing on black people because I am black, but obviously there still needs to be a representation of minority groups. That's what they call us, minorities. We might be a minority in your society, but you know, that doesn't mean that I should be marginalised, and that doesn't mean that I should be made to feel like I am beneath or less than anybody. And that's why silence isn't enough anymore, because for years we've been silent. When did slavery end? It was hundreds of years ago. Slavery hasn't been in place in regards to going and capturing or bartering, whatever they were doing, since what, 1895 in America or whatever. It's a long time ago, right? But there's still this undercurrent of, yeah, but you are a bit of a zoo exhibit. And that's what needs to change. I mean, it even comes from, like, I know this is slightly going off on a tangent and I don't want to keep anyone too long, but let me just say this. If you are fetishizing, if you have a fetish, not a preference, a fetish for somebody because of the colour of their skin, that is also not okay. And that is also from racism. And I just wanted to get that message out there and say my two little cents. Because we're tired. Black people, we're tired. I'm tired of having to feel like a second class citizen, of having to feel like no one's got my back. So don't just watch and don't say anything. Don't watch inequality, don't watch bullying, don't watch any type of discrimination and just go, it's not my problem, it's not happening to me. We need to stand up. We all need to stand up together. That's the problem, is that we've been segregated for hundreds of years. No, we're asking. I'm not asking for any special treatment. I don't want to, oh, she's black, oh my God. Oh my God. I don't want that. All I want is to be treated the same. To not have those conversations of, where are you from? Where's your parents from? Where are they born? Where's your grandparents born? I don't want to have kids and they have to go through that. And that's what we're trying to change. Hundreds of years of segregation. We all just want to be treated as if we're human beings. And I stand with all my minority groups. But I do have to end this on Black Power. Why are you lying for? You know you want to see me again. You know it. You know it. You know it.